Weta with One Republic. That's I Don't Want to Wait. Until tomorrow morning at 6:30. Have a great Wednesday. Going to hand you over to Greg Hughes. Good morning, Greg.
Which samples?
Oh, you've caught me on the hop now, Greg. I didn't think of that one. You caught me on the hop. Have you got the answer?
No. I don't. I know the video. It's the video where they're on a plane. You know. No.
Yeah, I just can't. I'll figure that
one out. The video it's based on them being a hostess or hosts or something. Anyway,
I'll have the answer tomorrow morning. I'll figure that one out.
I wish I had been so smart to know the answer before I put you on the spot. But anyway.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, take
Have
care, Marty. Thanks so much indeed. Yes, indeed. Marty Friel back with you tomorrow morning at 6:30. It's the 9 Til Noon Show. Coming up after the news headlines, which are delivered to us now by Donald Kavanagh. Good morning, Donald.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The Data Protection Commission has launched an investigation into 2 data breaches at the HSE last year. The inquiry will look into how a video featuring a person looking through a large number of historic patient files in St Conal's Hospital in Letterkenny appeared on TikTok. Michaela Clark has more.
The Data Protection Commission's inquiry is going to look at how the HSE have been storing sensitive personal data after some paper records were accessed and posted on TikTok. In a statement, the DPC said the breaches related to 2 specific locations which were accessed by unauthorised third parties and the circulation of videos taken from within these locations showing paper medical records. Last November, a video posted on TikTok featured a large number of historic patient files being accessed in a disused part of St Conal's Hospital in Letterkenny, including medical notes. At the time, the HSE said the historical patient files, which date back several decades and which were stored in a locked facility, were illegally accessed. The HSE says Letterkenny University Hospital is fully committed to protecting the rights to privacy and confidentiality of all patients under GDPR regulations and says it will fully cooperate with the DPC inquiry.
The Dáil has been told the inshore fishing sector is dying and not enough is being done to save it. Deputy Padraig McLaughlin, the Sinn Féin fisheries spokesperson, told the Dáil that inshore fishers have received little financial assistance since Brexit. Minister Hildegard Naughton told him that some supports are available and a new inshore fishing strategy is being considered. Deputy McLaughlin countered there is an urgent need for financial support now to save the sector. He questioned whether the government has any understanding of the scale of the crisis.
There's somebody drowning here and we're talking about giving them swimming lessons. I'm sorry to use the pun, but that's literally what's happening. We're going to see an industry die here, and that is an emergency. And I don't get a sense that our Minister and Department are conveying to the European Commission the scale of the crisis.
An audit of Ireland's intensive care units show they're operating at near maximum capacity. The report also highlights a need for hospitals to prioritise discharges to free up space for their sickest patients. Professor Rory Dwyer is the clinical lead for the annual Irish National ICU audit. He says there are ways to improve things.
A quarter of patients spend more than 24 hours in ICU after being cleared for discharge. This is a waste of a valuable resource. A bed could have been made available for other patients. Instead, it's been used for somebody who's been judged to be fit for ward care. And we feel there should be a prioritisation, if somebody's ready for discharge to the ward, to prioritise them for beds in the ward when beds in the ward become available.
Well, the forecast a little cloudy this morning with some isolated showers. They'll quickly die out with sunny spells developing into the afternoon, staying mostly dry until a few scattered showers return later this evening. Highest temperatures this afternoon, 13 to 15 in a northwesterly breeze. Tonight, cloudy with showers, heavy at times, but easing overnight in lowest temperatures of 7 to 10 with a northerly breeze. And that's Highland Radio News. Check all today's news on our website, highlandradio.com. We're back again with news at 10 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, good morning.
As we spring into summer, some things are just guaranteed. Like farmers' tans. They're everywhere. And the great barbecue debate, is gas ever better than charcoal? No. Another guarantee, and only in Ireland, is that one Eurodreams player will win €2,000 every month for the next 5 years. Guaranteed. That's €2,000 a month for 5 years. But only if you play Eurodreams on Thursday, May 30th. The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly, play for fun.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 Til Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. You're very welcome along to the 9 Til Noon Show on this Wednesday. It's the 29th of May, believe it or not, and it's just turned 4 minutes past 9. And you're very welcome along for the next 3 hours. The first hour of the show, traditional format, and then we have our third from last local election debate coming up between 10 and 12. They've proved really popular with you, the listeners, so far. So hopefully today's will be another interesting one. Our focus is on Glenties. We've already done one on Glenties. There are 16 candidates for 6 seats, so we had to split it into 2. And our guests this morning, Dennis McGee, 100% Redress, Brian Carr of Sinn Féin, Anthony Matthew Doohan, an independent, Michael Harkin of Aintu, Anne-Marie Rogers of Fianna Fáil, and John Seamus O'Ferry of Sinn Féin. They'll all be in studio with us. Also invited today was Jonathan Stewart, an independent, Anthony Malloy of Fianna Fáil, both either unavailable or declined. One is the same as the other, I suppose. So still a very interesting panel. So if you are in the Glenties electoral area and you have any questions which you wish us to put to our guests, then get in touch with us right now. 086 60 25,000. 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. We've also been banging out record viewers figures across our socials and on our website as well. So if you want to watch it, and nothing beats watching it sometimes as well, a debate like that, well then you can go onto our YouTube channel, Highland Radio Ireland. We're live on it now, but we'll be switching to a second stream for the debates. And also you can watch on our website, highlandradio.com. There's a watch live ticker there, and we're on Facebook as well. Right, let's have a look at the newspapers this morning. The Finn Valley Voice, €91,000 plus raised at Relay for Life 2024. With over 91,000 raised so far, the weekend's Relay for Life 2024 at ATU campus has been hailed a massive success. This year marked the 10th anniversary of the event that had 38 teams taking part this year. Relay for Life chair Seamus Devine said we had 38 teams taking part this year, up from 29 last year, and the weather went according to plan, and everything else went according to plan as well. Okay, good news there. On to the Nationals, and a story we've been carrying on the news bulletins this morning. The Irish Times reports it. Regulators have opened up an investigation into 2 health service executive data breaches after videos posted online showed people accessing medical records which were supposed to be in secure hospital storage. The inquiry by the Data Protection Commission comes after the HSE notified it of instances last year at a Dublin hospital and at a building in the old St. Connell's Psychiatric Hospital in Letterkenny, County Donegal. You might remember that we were the first to reveal that a person from Northern Ireland had gained access to St. Connell's. He said he effectively walked in through an open door, and he was able to walk around the building, and there were boxes upon boxes upon boxes of medical files. And some of them actually relate to some consultants that were listed on those files still operating in the Northwest, so it can't have been as old as some would have had you believe. Then after that, the HSE had nothing left to say, and we were curious as to how we could hold the HSE to account if they were refusing to comment on it. The person responsible claimed he effectively did a public service. He was on the show as well. He said that, look, anyone could have gone in. I went in, I videoed, I didn't show any personal information as such, and people deserve to know that these files were so easily accessible if anyone wanted to go in there and take them for dodgy reasons. But anyway, I wonder what's happened since. We'll talk about that a little later on in this hour. The Dublin incident, I'm not terribly interested in that. Just fast forwarding to the HSE incident, not the HSE incident, but the Letterkenny incident. The Irish, no, they're going on to TikTok there. The inquiry by the Data Protection Commission comes after the HSE notified it of instances last year at the Dublin hospital, as I mentioned, and in Letterkenny. The Dublin incident in October was live streamed online, it's understood. In the Letterkenny incident in November, a TikToker, a video showed people going through boxes of historic medical files. And the Data Protection Commission has teeth. It'll be interesting to see what it does there. On to the Irish Independent now, and scientists have developed and tested a new non-hormonal male contraceptive, which they believe could lead to a reversible birth control pill for men. While there are many forms of female contraception in clinical use, birth control options for men are currently very limited. Although researchers have been investigating several strategies to develop male contraceptives, we still do not have a birth control pill for men, study co-author Martin Matzuk said. The study in the journal Science showed that a novel, non-hormonal approach targeted sperm offers a promising method of reversible human male contraception. And if it was a daily pill, I wonder, would fellas be as inclined to take it? And would women be confident that they would? I don't know. What do you think? 086 60 25,000. Irish Daily Mail this morning, asylum seekers who wrongly received payments from the state will not have to return the money due to serious lapses in controls by the Department of Social Protection. The department has confirmed it will not seek to recoup extra monies paid to asylum seekers as means tested. Testing will only begin next month. A damning audit by the Controller and Auditor General found serious lapses in controls of these payments, while the Social Protection Minister was warned that failing to act on legislation passed in 2018 was costing the state close to 11 million annually in overpayments. The audit by the state spending watchdog and obtained by the Daily Mail reveals that in mid-2022, weekly payments to... Where is the story gone? It's on page 4, apparently. Yes, weekly payments to asylum seekers were made electronically directly into applicants' bank accounts rather than being collected in post offices. Another control measure that meant asylum seekers were only eligible to claim for an allowance if they were living in a designated centre was dropped by the department at a time when the number of asylum seekers arriving into Ireland soared. But they're unable to recoup it because of the because of the data control. Disturbing scenes in the capital yesterday. The Irish Daily Star and others report on them. A man caught yesterday brandishing a knife on the same Dublin street where a mass stabbing occurred last November was recently detained over mental health concerns. The Star has established that an Irishman from Dublin, the Dublin 1 area, was detained after he was seen allegedly banging on a school bus and brandishing a knife on Parnell Square at around 9 a.m. on Monday morning. Now, I do understand why they are why they believe they are identifying the nationality of this person, because he's the idea probably being not to stir up any anger or what have you, but there is a bit of a double standard here, because then if other groups of individuals identify the nationality of an individual and he's non-Irish, then people say, well, you shouldn't do that, should you? It's wrong and it's fear-mongering, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, there is a something of a double standard there. But as I say, I can understand perhaps why his nationality has been revealed. The shocking incident happened in the same area where a mass stabbing incident that left a young child in a critical condition last November sparked widespread riots in Dublin city centre. Locals yesterday said a man was threatening and abusing those on the bus, including a young child who was attacked in the violent incident that saw another child get critically injured. So that's the part of the story that jumps out at me. A young child that was the subject of the attack last year actually witnessed this, and no child should go through that once, let alone twice. On to the Sun this morning, and a top DJ has accused Fine Gael of not having the backbone or bottle to push ahead with laws that will let nightclubs open up until 6 p.m. And publican associations fear it's the last call for dramatic changes to our licensing laws, and worry they'll be axed if not passed in the coming months. 2 years ago, the Cabinet signed off on a draft of the sale of alcohol bill that would let pubs stay open until 12:30 a.m. 7 nights a week. It also allows late bars to open until 2:30 a.m, while nightclubs can serve alcohol until 5 a.m. and stay open until 6 a.m. But despite repeated vows from Justice Minister Helen McEntee, Arts Minister Catherine Martin and former Taoiseach Leo Varadkar, the laws have not been passed. Now, this is one of those laws that I haven't encountered anyone who was in favour of it. Either those who might be inclined to go out to that time. I never heard anything from a young person that says, I would love to be able to stay out till 5 or 6 in the morning, or even parents, and I mean parents of adult children, who can be nervous enough waiting for the child to come home at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, let alone in the early hours, or actually it's not really the early hours, 6 or 7 o'clock the following morning. It looks like they're being shelved. They've caught some in the papers that are interested in those laws going ahead. As I say, I've yet to encounter anyone, or in fact get a text on this show or a message on this show from anyone who is in favour of nightclubs staying open until 6. But maybe you're out there. Let us know if you want those laws brought in. They may be put on the shelf forever now. And finally, the Irish Daily Mirror. Ireland officially recognised Palestine as a state yesterday as its flag flew over Leinster House as the government signed off on the move. Taoiseach Simon Harris called for all levers to stop the violence before Netanyahu's next tragic mistake. Although the statehood decision was announced by Mr Harris, Taoiseach Micheál Martin and Green Party leader Eamon Ryan last Wednesday, it had to be formally approved by Cabinet. Ahead of statements in the Dáil, groups gathered outside Leinster House saying, "Thank you, Ireland." And we're probably going to see an awful lot of people, when they can safely get out of Gaza, coming to Ireland now, because it would be seen as a country that is... And has traditionally been a country that is sympathetic with their plight, and the expectation is that this could be a safe place for them to travel to. Ahead of statements in the Dáil, groups gathered outside Leinster House saying "Thank you, Ireland." Proceedings were halted temporarily as protesters in the Chamber's public gallery called for sanctions on Israel, which is kind of interesting because presumably they were invited in. You can't just go in, as far as I'm aware, unless it's changed. You can't just go into the public gallery without an invite. So someone invited them in, and then proceedings were halted as they called for sanctions on Israel. Mr Harris raised concerns about the deaths of dozens more civilians in Gaza being labelled tragic mistakes by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Victims included dozens of people, some of whom were children, killed at a camp for displaced people in Rafah on Sunday night. This came after Hamas rockets being aimed at Israel. Now, I was talking about this off-air to people. I probably should, but I wouldn't be fit to watch those videos. I just don't. It just wouldn't be my thing whatsoever. But maybe we should see them so we fully understand the extent of what's going on. Business Matters, by the way, on Business Matters on Sunday, June 2nd, Chris Ashmore will be looking at how Microfinance Ireland can help businesses as he speaks with Philip O'Kennedy of the Donegal Local Enterprise Office. He also chats with Food Coast Donegal advisor Maura Toner about some of the great Food Coast Donegal events in the months ahead. And he hears from Maria Doherty of the Donegal ETB about degrees with the first year free of fees at the Donegal ETB before you go to the ATU campus or an ATU campus. The podcast is available from today, and that show is broadcast on air after the 6 o'clock news on Sunday.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra and Diner, Mountaintop Letterkenny, winner of Best Family Dining at the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off on all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring. Stores nationwide. Sale now on.
Easy Living Furniture's sizzling summer sale ends this Sunday. Don't miss out as absolutely everything's reduced across sofa, dining, bedroom, mattress and accessories. Summer sale ends Sunday at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, or online at easylivingfurniture.co.uk.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, Easy Living has it all. Easy Living Furniture, luxury furnishings, affordable luxury.
The current world record for the 100 metres is 9.58 seconds. The fastest time for the 100 metres hurdles is 12.12 seconds. It's no mystery why one is faster than the other. Hurdles, obstacles you have to overcome. If you have a personal injury claim or one has been made against you, those hurdles could include stress, cost and uncertainty. The Injuries Resolution Board, formerly PIAB, has a new mediation service that removes the hurdles. It's the route for a fast and fair personal injury resolution. The Injuries Resolution Board. Find out more at injuries.ie.
Boost your brain function with Remind supplements this May. Visit Healthwise Pharmacies for the innovative Life Meter test. In just 1 minute, measure your carotenoid levels from a simple fingertip scan. Understanding your diet can help you take charge of your brain health. Remind's blend of carotenoids and omega-3 fatty acids supports normal brain function. Make an appointment today at Ballyrain and Dunlow Healthwise Pharmacies. Take the first step towards a healthier brain with Remind.
Summer entertainment in the Great Northern Hotel Bundoran. Friday, July the 5th, the one and only Nathan Carter and his band. With special guest, David James. Hear all your favourite Nathan Carter hits and more. Tickets $36.50 plus booking fee. On sale now from the hotel reception and Ticketmaster.ie. Presented by Joe Gallagher Entertainments.
Now we're joined on the programme by Emma Gova, also known as the wee Donegal Mammy. Good morning to you, Emma. How are you keeping today?
Good morning, Greg, and good morning to all your listeners across the Northwest.
Listen, thanks so much for joining us. Now, you had a recent visit to Letterkenny University Hospital's emergency department. Emma, talk us through it as much as you are comfortable in doing so.
Well, yes, I was in Letterkenny University Hospital yesterday with my son. And I just, first of all, I always say this, and it's important that I say it, this is not a reflection on the staff. But it was absolute carnage up there, and that's the truth. We went in at about 11:30. We got triaged around 12:30 because we stood in the queue for about 30 minutes. There's quite a queue, and the girls in the front desk were busy. So then we got triaged about 12:30. And then nothing to about... I went in and I said, listen, do you know how long we're going to be waiting? Because we have concerns around the fact that there's been no eating or drinking been happening in the last 2 days. There's clearly quite a big abscess. GP's concerned, for markers for sepsis and things like that. And I was told, listen, we're really sorry. There's a massive queue in front of them. All our cubicles are full, which I could see with my own two eyes. Resus is full. There was chair parked one after the other along the wall. So I said, okay. I went back out, sat down because I thought that there's nothing there literally is no space. I went back in, and as I went back in, there was maintenance men there constructing another cubicle, literally constructing another cubicle with some plasterboard, wood, and a curtain roll, or a curtain pole and a curtain. And I thought to myself, this is the health service in 2024. They're actually they found a spare space of wall, a wee alcove, and they're constructing a cubicle in there. As people are lined up, I mean, there was people sitting on the floor like Indians. And so I went up and I said, listen, I appreciate that you are really busy, but given the fact that it very obviously has an infection, there's a huge abscess there, and not eating, not drinking, nauseated, all of these things that were concerning to the GP and to myself, because there is an underlying condition there. He's had no bloods done to check for infection markers or anything like that.
And I mean, this is also in the context of the massive spend from the HSE warning people to advocate for themselves as it relates to sepsis. In relation to sepsis, yeah. So I said, listen, I'm really concerned. And, given the fact that he has a pre-existing medical condition, there is concern that he would be more vulnerable because his immune system's taking a battering. And she said, look, I'm really sorry. And I said, right, but what do I do? I said, he said, no fluids up. It's now 5:20 at this stage. I said, this child hasn't been able to eat or drink for days. He said, no fluids up. He said, no blood pressure taken. Since he came in and seen the triage nurse, he's had no bloods taken. He hasn't even had a temperature check. And she said, I know, but we're really snowed under. And she said, I am really sorry. And I said, look, I'm not being smart or funny. I said, listen, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I said, but I need to take him to another hospital. And she said, I can't tell you to do that, but that is your right to do that. And I said to her, right. She said, but if you make that decision, can you just let us know? So I said, right, okay. So this lady then, she obviously, I don't know whether she recognised me or she just heard me or what the story was, because I do a lot of advocacy for the hospital and about the health service, and she approached me and she said, do you see that man there? He's actually leaving now. He's discharging himself. And I was like, okay. She said, he's here since 4 o'clock yesterday. He's been sitting in that chair since 4 o'clock yesterday.
and it's now 5:20 today.
So
and
that's
it was 4 p.m.
that's
yesterday.
25 hours.
Yeah, and he'd been sitting in that one chair. So I said, oh my God. And she said, he's discharging himself now without following through because he can't, he's sitting in that chair since 4 o'clock yesterday. So 25 and a half hours that man sat in that chair. The man sitting beside my son was a 97-year-old man who'd been sitting in the chair from 1 o'clock. And when I left, when he left last night to go and get an x-ray, I think it must have been 11:30, 12:15, a 97-year-old man sitting in the chair. And he hadn't had his bloods done to 11:30 last night. There was another family who were discharging their loved one, who were going to literally leave and go to Alton Galvin. And I said, right, okay. Then there was, probably one of the most heartbreaking things was a young fellow with anorexia, unable to eat for 2 days as well. Clearly very unwell and clearly mentally vulnerable.
Mm.
And his mother stood there and said, my son's going to die if he doesn't get help. And, we've been sent here to get help. And they said, there's nothing we can do. You can, and likewise she said, I need to drive to the children's hospital. What do I need to do? And they said, it's up to you. So that family last night, not only were they in a precarious place physically, but they also were mentally. Mm. That was a child who was clearly very clinically underweight. Very clinically underweight. You knew to look at him. And his team had been on the phone. And I'm telling you that the team, the Child and Family Mental Health Service were saying that they couldn't influence or intervene in in any way. They just had to navigate their way through the system. But they were giving this mother pointers on the phone to what to try and say to highlight her son's case, because they were telling her he has no more weight left to lose. He could drop dead.
So that he would be elevated on the list. But the problem is he's competing with the 97-year-old person to sort of get seen first. That's the not actively competing, but that's the reality of it. So when you were in there, yeah, go ahead.
She said, I'm not looking for my child to be bumped up the list. Can you not just find some way to give him nutrition while he's waiting?
Yeah, well, I would forgive her for saying that she wanted the young fellow bumped up the list. So you would have been sitting. You would have been sitting in the main ED part, would you?
Yes, I was sitting in the main ED part.
Was it packed? Was there any spare seating?
In the front there would have been maybe 5 or 6 spare seats every now and then, and you would have actually thought, because I've seen it worse out the front. Yeah. So you would have thought, do you know what, actually, maybe. But when you went in the other door, it was just like, and there were doctors standing there taking medical histories, taking bloods, with these people sitting in chairs. No thought, and when I say no thought for dignity, I don't mean the doctors. They had no choice. But what I'm saying is, these people are not being afforded dignity, privacy. Mm-hmm.
It's awful.
At my own son, I asked for painkillers for my son last night at 7 o'clock, and they were so rushed off their feet that they managed to do a changeover of staff. And I went back in twice and said, listen, we're waiting on these painkillers. He's in agony out there. Mm. And they said, listen, we are coming out. At 11 o'clock last night, I was like, please, he's in agony. And then they said, okay, we're putting up an IV now.
Obviously, we're talking about patients' experience and what have you, and you've talked about it there. What a working environment for these people to go in and start, I don't know if it's 8 or 12-hour shifts, but to know that you're going in there, whatever time the shift turnover is at, you wonder how they go in, wouldn't you, sometimes? It's amazing. It's astonishing what they do under the circumstances.
I spoke with a nurse last night who's actually working with my son, and she was lovely. She's very, very nice, the girl. She said to me, I said to her, listen, I've been raising this issue constantly. She says, I know you have. I said, I'm going to be talking, at that stage I knew I'd be talking today, so I'm going to be talking to Greg Hughes tomorrow about it. She said, you please do. And I said, she said, I'm actually saying to him, please keep shouting out loud, keep shouting, don't drop this, please. She says, we need the patient stories out there. We do. And the thing is, this is just, the stories yesterday, of a wee fella last week as well, 13 years of age, waited 18 hours to be seen by the doctor to be told, actually, no, you need to be in Galway.
Mm-hmm.
To then get transferred to Galway. Another lady yesterday was actually in a different hospital down the country for an appointment. Was told she needed to go to A&E. Had to travel back from that hospital to go see her own GP in Donegal to go back to Letterkenny Hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's.
We have to be having this.
This is a health service.
We have to be having this conversation too, in the context of local and European elections that are taking place on June 7th. I mean, I've made the point more times than it. When you do this, when you're doing the show every day, Emma, you're at pains not to repeat yourself because you're conscious that people are having to listen to the same stuff all the time. But I just really don't feel that the council as a whole has really made enough noise about this. I'm just going to be completely honest with you.
Well, you see, this is the thing, and I would actually agree with you there, Greg, in the sense that somebody said to me yesterday, but you see, it's not the local councillor's job. They have no remit in the health service. And that's actually, it depends on the way that you look at it, right? So, for example, there is a health panel. 5 people go on that panel from the local council and travel to Galway. We know that. They go on the health board panel. I think Jerry McMonagall might be on it at the moment, or he has been on it in the past.
There's a few of them, yeah.
Yeah, and not just that, as I said to the MEPs as well, listen, if you sign yourself up to a party, or you sign yourself up to a collective of independents, it doesn't matter whether you're going to Europe or you're staying local, you have the ability then to put pressure on your colleagues to raise this issue. You have the platform that the ordinary Joe Soap in the street like me doesn't have. You have the numbers of the people who are higher up, who are in the Dáil, who have contacts. You have their numbers to put pressure on them to start hiring, because we're one of the biggest Model 3 hospitals, and we're the least funded. I mean, that's not just my opinion, that's fact. The fact that we're the least funded. You know what I mean?
There are other things. I mean, other than making representations, there are other things you can do to make noise about these things as well. But
well, absolutely. I called them all out last night and said, "Land down, come and actually see for yourself." And I was saying now what I said last night, and I have no hesitation in saying it. I'm calling on Minister Donnelly to come and make a visit to Letterkenny University Hospital, not a scheduled visit, okay, because it is a proven statistical fact that planned visits do not show you the real picture. They don't. I'm calling on him just to land like the rest of us have to do.
But it's hard to get him to do a scheduled visit, let alone...
you see what is actually going on.
I always... there was a TD and God help her, she got an awful bit of abuse for it, but early last year, or maybe it was the year before, she had to land into hospital with her daughter or son, and she put up this sort of, the poor staff and patients, things are very bad in the ED, and it wasn't actually as bad as, anywhere near as bad as what we had experienced up here or whatever, and it was sort of, she got an awful lot of abuse for it because it was the first time really anyone who's a decision maker sort of says, "Oh, things are bad here," because there's often a detachment between what the world they live in and the world the rest of us live in, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And it was almost as if
totally
when she was commenting about it, the reason she got the abuse is it was framed as if she never realised it was like this, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and then you see...
all we do is talk about it and live that experience. And one TD, it was almost like, oh, so the hospitals are in bad shape. And as I say, I don't agree with any abuse towards anyone personally.
No,
but she had to delete the tweet in the end because it was like, now you understand what we're talking about here.
Well, this is a double-edged sword because, as you say, for that TD, so if we have a TD who is sitting in government and let's say they do put out a tweet like that, they are worried that they may face that abuse. And then we have TDs in opposition who are constantly raising the issue but are now becoming maybe reluctant because they're being told you're only saying that because you're in opposition and you want to use that as a political football.
Well, look, listen. The way the world works, right? Unfortunately, is the hospital crisis is ongoing. It's a nightmare, right? we're coming up to election, and this election is going to be fought to a great extent about immigration. That is the truth, right? Now, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into that conversation. But now what you have is you've got Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, the Greens now in government, hardening their line, cutting payments, doing this, that, and taking action, real action at the moment. And then you've got the opposition parties adjusting their position, saying they're going to get tough on this, that, and done. And we, the public, kind of to some extent are suckers to this because, yes, it's an incredibly important issue, don't get me wrong. But that's all the stuff that's happening in the run-up to the election. The EU Migration Pact was sitting there for 10 years and it was banged through Europe as we headed into this election.
Exactly.
So we're gonna end up voting probably on a easy to understand divisive issue about immigration.
Yes.
And not about our everyday life experience of the hospital, and not backing that 97-year-old gentleman who was sitting for 6 hours on a hard bench. Not you with your son there. Not the young child suffering from anorexia that had to leave. Not the other gentleman that had to sign himself out. And probably all of those will end up getting called in about 8 hours. You know, it was Greg Hughes here, Greg Hughes, and I've probably left 8 hours ago. So we're kind of we, the public, are kind of in some way, I think, we have to take a bit of responsibility in this ourselves. We're not voting on we're not going to be voting on that hospital, if the truth be told. We're going to be voting on something really emotive and in our face.
Well, this is why I'm trying to raise this issue as well. Now, listen, I'm not going to get into an immigration discussion either. I do believe that we need to totally revamp the system.
Of course, and
absolutely. I don't think it's fit for purpose.
That's fit for that. We'll have that conversation another time. But my point is that's what we're going to be. That's what an awful lot of people are voting on.
But my point would be that I called a public meeting like this in 2019 when the general election was on. If anybody remembers, I was actually on your show. And I called a public meeting about it then because children didn't have a palliative care specialist in Ireland because the only one palliative care consultant we had left because he couldn't deal with being the only pain specialist for children in Ireland, and he went to Australia. He had burnout. He couldn't deal with the stress of it anymore. So this isn't something that's happened in the last 12 months or 24 months or since the war in Ukraine broke out or anything else. This is something that has been happening systemically over years, or her health service has been allowed to crumble. Now, I know I'm going to get the spiel from the powers that be saying, oh, well, you know, we're building the step-down bed centre across the road from Letterkenny. That's not going to happen overnight. They're building it, yeah. But we also need to be careful that doesn't become long stay, if you understand my meaning.
Yeah, okay.
That's not where people go to when they can't get the primary care packages for home, like carers and home help. Mm-hmm. We need to make sure that stays as a step-down service to free up beds. But having said that, that didn't help that 97-year-old man last night. It didn't help my son. It didn't help the wee fella who waited 18 hours for getting transferred to Galway. It didn't help the mother who told me, who reached out to me online and said she went in with her son who had a serious head injury. A serious head injury where you're supposed to be assessed within 10 minutes when there's an obvious severe head injury. It was 6 hours before he got to see a doctor. He needed a bleed in his brain.
Well, listen, I mean,
now, what's going to happen is...
Emma, unfortunately, I'm going to have to move on because it's an important issue, but I do have a few other things to fit in before 10. But look, I get these stories all of the time, and I could do a story every single day. People who need certain medications but are deemed not to be sick enough to get that medication, so they go somewhere else to get it. Some horrific stories. But Emma, listen, thank you very much for your time this morning. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Thanks so much,
Take care, Emma. All right, bye-bye. Take care. My late father-in-law went in by ambulance in January about 11:30 a.m. and was left in the waiting room. No bloods or anything done. I asked 3 different times for pain relief, and in the end he asked me to get his grandkids outside town to bring something, which he did, or they did. He eventually collapsed and there was a big rush to resus and then ICU with sepsis. I did feel like taking him home. I was so mad. Even when he collapsed only for his granddaughter speaking up, they didn't really take us seriously. I was in A&E with my child last week. I was in a queue for 40 minutes to get checked in. Firstly, there wasn't enough seats for us all that was presenting. When we got through for x-ray and to see a doctor, there was hardly room to walk through the corridors. I overheard a member of staff speaking with a member of the public and told them that there was a huge health and safety issue during the week as they couldn't get a trolley bed without through, with the amount of people waiting and standing in the halls to go to X-ray. If an emergency was to happen, this hospital would be completely liable for a huge disaster. The staff cannot do enough for you, and how they work in these conditions baffles me. They are truly angels, but government needs to release funding and adequately staff this hospital and open more beds. And what we did see, though, is that, and I take your point, is there are emergency plans in place, and there are resources that can be drawn in, and all staff, even those off duty, come in, and we did see that in the immediate aftermath of the awful Creasler tragedy. So there are measures in place, and those measures do work, but I do take your broader point.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Due to continued expansion, Louis Walsh Opticians in the Courtyard Letterkenny are now seeking optical sales assistance. Previous experience is preferred, but full training will be given. Apply with CV to info@louiswalshopticians.ie.
If you aren't quite ready to drive a full EV, you'll be going in the right direction with the Mazda CX-5. This SUV comes with fuel-saving Mazda M hybrid technology and a 6-year warranty you'll find across the entire Mazda range. Test drive the 242 Mazda range at McGinley Motors Mazda Letterkenny. Mazda, crafted in Japan.
Ensure the safety of your team with SafeTech. We have part-funded courses in first aid, people moving and handling, confined spaces, food hygiene, quad bikes, fire warden, IPAF MUPS, electrofusion, welding and machinery cards for Ireland and UK sites. Also delivering online courses like utilities, water hygiene and construction supervisors. SafeTech can deliver group training at your business premises. To find out more, contact safetech.ie today.
Irwin Expert Electrical, your trusted destination for all things home appliances, electrical and entertainment in the Northwest. With over 50 years of leading the way, we pride ourselves on offering a diverse range of products under one roof. From top brands like LG, Samsung, Cooker, Bosch, Apple and more, take advantage of our free layaway service where you can store your new items until you're ready for them. Perfect for renovations and new build projects. Visit Irwin Expert Electrical today in Letterkenny or Buncrana.
Refresh your shoe wardrobe with the latest arrivals from Green Shoes, bringing you the latest styles from top brands such as Riker, Birkenstock and Wonders. Also New Balance, Bugatti, XTI and many more. Step into style this season with Green Shoes, Market Square, Letterkenny Shopping Centre and Fulcara, or at greenshoes.com. One for all and Shop LK cards accepted.
Looking for your perfect exclusive wedding venue? The Red Door Country House is nestled on a 4-acre site on the shores of Lough Swilly, located in Fawn, Buncrana. We are offering a reduced package price for remaining dates this year. Contact info@thereddoor.ie for all your wedding inquiries.
Okay, we'll welcome onto the programme now Senator Niall Blaney, a candidate in the upcoming European elections for the Midlands North West constituency. Good morning to you, Niall. Thanks for taking the call today.
Good morning, Ray.
Right, so before we talk about the exchange between you and your party leader at the recent launch of the Fianna Fáil European election, what was going on beforehand, or what has been happening over the course of your campaign that has made you feel let down by the party? I don't want to misphrase it, but what supports have you felt were lacking or are lacking?
Well, I think I dealt with that fairly exclusively last week, Greg. I spelled out the coverage that I wasn't getting nationally. And what I don't want this to be is about myself and Micheál Martin. I suppose I sometimes you have to maybe fight to be heard. I'm fighting to have the needs of the regions heard, and I think that's more important. And I want to fight to ensure those needs are met. And rather than this being about myself and Micheál Martin, it needs to be about the region, what we're missing here, the representation we're missing.
But we can't look past something I've never really seen before, Niall. And that was you at the press conference speaking as you did about the lack of support you feel you were getting. Was that a spur of the moment thing, or had you planned to do that?
I suppose I'd call out my situation at that stage, Greg. I haven't had any TV appearances, so I dealt with that last week. I called it out for what it was, and there's a poster campaign going on that I'm not party to. I called that out as well, I called out the unfair play, and I suppose the difference in my party and that I get to do that and still be in the party, not like others. I called out the unfair play, and that is done now. But as I said, I will fight to be heard, and I fought last week to be heard. And if I get the opportunity to be the MEP in Europe, I will fight to have our needs heard.
I
And I'm
get
sure
you, and I
people-
do understand that also you want to use this opportunity to talk about what you deliver, and I've no problem with that whatsoever. But I'm just again curious about this press conference. What was said afterwards? Can you divulge what was said to you afterwards by either the other candidates who looked pretty shocked or Micheál Martin himself?
Well, we had an exchange of our positions, let's say that myself and the leader. But we've moved on. I'm moving on with my campaign.
There is a bit of a history, though, in terms of, it seems, Fianna Fáil MEP candidates, not getting a fair rub with the party, either all of a sudden a candidate being dropped in the Sligo area, or, for instance, like. The point is like you as a seasoned politician and as a senator and as a loyal member of Fianna Fáil, like, to put your name forward and to campaign, you're putting, to some extent too, you're putting your legacy out on the line, you're putting your reputation out there. Whether people like you or not, that is something that you've done, and it just seems another case of the. The party throwing that back into your face a little bit. As I say, I'm not trying to whip up anything here, right? But, I'm speaking as a fellow Donegal person here. Like, how much more are certain Fianna Fáil candidates going to have to take before they say enough is enough? Like, I mean, are you in any way sort of... Is your patience running thin with the party at this point?
Well, as you've seen last week, my patience ran thin. I did put everything into this campaign for well over a year now. And that of my team as well. We've invested an awful lot, time, energy, and money, resources, to this campaign. And my quip was that every candidate deserves the same supports. This thing of meddling in elections or choosing one candidate over another is not the thing to do. I've called that out, Greg, very clearly last week. And this is not about myself and Micheál Martin or Fianna Fáil. It's about the region I represent. And
what it feels to me, and we'll get to that, but what it feels to me is that you have been shafted to some extent, in that maybe never wanted you on the ticket, because when they went through the selection convention, maybe the party thought, well, there's no chance Niall's going to get selected, but you did really well, and they opted to pick 2 from 3, and then they decided to run 3. So it seems like you exceeded their expectations, and then they thought, well, how do we fix this problem? Well, we're going to run the 2 we thought we were going to run in the first place in any case. That's what it looks like from an outsider looking into me. Why have a selection convention if you're going to put all 3 of the candidates up? They didn't expect you to do so well amongst your fellow party members.
Well, the history of this is there for everybody to see, Greg. I'm not going to get into it at this stage because we're too close to the election. We need to get into the issues because it's not about me and Fianna Fáil. This is about our place here in the Northwest, where we are in the Northwest, but moreover, the opportunities we have in a proper advocate in the EU representing us and our deficits, and someone that actually knows those deficits. I'm not going to get into an argument with you here this morning.
No, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm back. Hey, come here.
I think it's very clear for anybody.
I'm to some extent. I'm backing you here to some extent. I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah, and I get that. I appreciate that, Craig. But I'm not going to get into.
So you're not going to leave Fianna Fáil on the radio then? Is that the truth?
Pardon?
You're not going to leave Fianna Fáil on the radio then? Is that? There's no point me barking up that tree.
I have no intention of leaving. Okay. There's too much roots with
I know.
my
I'm being facetious.
Party, Greg, I'm not.
I'll give you. I'm being facetious, of course. Now I'm giving. I know you wanted to talk about why you believe that you should be selected as an MEP. So to be fair to you, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about that. You believe that that we would be far advantaged. We'd be greatly advantaged by having a Northwest-based MEP. A Donegal-based MEP.
Yeah, I suppose there's a good opportunity for an MEP from this region since we got Objective 1 status. And the committees and institutions of the European Parliament, the democratic institutions of the European Parliament, are a really important part of how the EU works. And anybody over there representing us that doesn't use those institutions are letting us down. And it's very clear that we have been let down. We have MEPs that haven't been showing up for committees, MEPs that are sending their assistants who can't contribute to committees. Our voice has not been heard on infrastructure. It hasn't been heard on farming, fishing, even on MICA. We have not been represented, and that has to change, Greg. And this isn't just about the current generation, it's about the next. If we don't build our infrastructure and use the opportunities at Europe with the Objective 1 status, we are not going to get the same opportunities as the east of the country and the south. And if we don't get advocates that are prepared to stand up and stand their ground at EU level, our problem at the moment, nobody's advocating. There's an odd word said here and there in a speech, but nobody's doing properly advocating. Nobody is making proper use of the institutions, the committees in the EU, and that's not good enough.
Yeah. I know what the candidates, if they're here, would say otherwise, but some would say, you represented, you made reference there to defective concrete. You didn't attend the People's Document event. I think you were canvassing maybe down the country. It's a big, but some people might hear you say that and go, well, that was where you could have really got the information. Now, I know you're affected by this yourself and your brother is as well, but that would have been an opportunity for you to sort of look the people affected by this in the whites of their eyes and be able to sort of take that document with you to Europe. That would have been very advantageous to your campaign.
Well, I support that document, Greg, first and foremost. Secondly, I wasn't around that night, and I wish I could have been around that night. But I have been meeting the MICA Action Group members at every public meeting we have had right across Donegal for the last number of weeks and months. I meet MICA homeowners day in, day out. They talk to me as well, believe it or not. But at the end of the day, if we were not involved in delivering the scheme that's currently there wouldn't be a scheme. The scheme that's there is there because myself and Charlie McConlogue roll up our sleeves over the last 4 years and done our damnedest to get it as far as it is. It's not perfect. There are many of those with larger houses will not get 100%, but there are many that are and will get 100% funding. And I don't intend to have an argument about that this morning. But for those to come along at EU level and say the report that they put together can do something for MICA, they're not telling the truth, because the report they put together as a mechanism in Europe where you can get up to 20 grand to put a report together by your own assistants in your office, based on whatever information is out there. The report that was put together is nothing more, nothing less. It has not been put on the floor of Parliament. So those that say they've brought it to Europe haven't actually brought it to Europe. They've just put a report together that's been paid for by Europe.
Well, listen,
that's unfair as well.
And other people will see it as differently, and the public can make their mind up on that. All right, Senator Noel Blaney, thanks for your time this morning. Take care. He's a candidate in the upcoming European elections for Midlands Northwest constituency. And as that story was running, because we've been preoccupied with other stuff, elections, etc., we got quite a lot of people backing Senator Blaney in him calling out the Taoiseach as he did.
Are you tired of waiting for treatment or surgery? Did you know you can receive immediate treatment across the border under the new NI planned healthcare scheme at potentially no cost? Donegal patients are still being treated with us at Kingsbridge Private Hospital Northwest post-Brexit. The process is easy and our dedicated team will help guide you through it. So why wait? Contact us today to find out how you can skip the waiting lists and receive treatment in Northern Ireland. Visit kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com, because life matters.
It's your fault. You deserve it. It's all in your head. They don't mean it. They can change. Recognizing male domestic abuse can be hard. Seeking support can be harder. For confidential advice and support, free phone the National Male Advice Line on 1-800-816-588. MAL, more than just a helpline.
Are you building, rebuilding or renovating? what heat pumps or solar panels would suit your build. Come along and speak to the experts, Efficient Renewables on heat pumps and solar panels. Get advice on installation and grants available. Visit the Efficient Renewables showroom in Newton Cunningham and see these products in operation for yourself.
For weekends away.
Or away games!
For culture vultures. Oh wow.
Or crowd surfers! Woo!
With nationwide locations, comfort and incredible value, there's room for everyone at Travelodge. Book your stay today at travellodge.ie.
Charge into summer with TUI. Secure your holiday today with savings for families and adults flying from Dublin, Cork and Shannon. Holiday sorted. TUI. Live happy.
Discover the ultimate gastropub experience at Sister Sarah's in Letterkenny. Treat yourself to their irresistible menu featuring Grill Night on Thursdays and Sarah's all-new Barbecue Fridays. Plus, enjoy live sports daily, live music on weekends and private function rooms for your special occasions. Sister Sarah's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love from Wednesday through to Sunday.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Support local at McElhenny's. With 53 years experience in fashion, beauty and home, we're here for you. Plus, enjoy M-Card rewards when you shop in-store at McElhenny's Ballybuffet.
A little cloudy this morning with a few isolated showers, but they will quickly die out with sunny spells developing this afternoon. Staying mostly dry then until a few scattered showers return later this evening. Temperatures 13 to 15 degrees, less rain tomorrow. And then high pressure moving in over the country, as we mentioned to you on Monday morning. It is coming to pass. So hopefully for the long weekend, if you're off and out and able to enjoy it, the weather should be much better, calmer, drier, sunnier. Not very warm, but that's okay. Right, now, nearly towards the end of the final hour of the show. Coming up after 10 o'clock, we have our third from last local election debate. And by the way, just to let you know that we have you covered for the actual election itself over Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, all boxes are being brought to the Ora Leisure Centre to be sorted through. We'll be broadcasting live from there. We'll have a panel, and any indications that we get and any of the situations that are ongoing, of course, locals and European. Then the boxes then are sent out to their local electorate areas. We have a team in Glenties, in Inshore, of course, in the Finn Valley, Donegal Town and in the Ora. And we'll have a brilliant visual experience for you as well. Obviously, the majority of you listening on radio, that's our priority, and we've got you covered there as well. But if you're at home and you want to bang it on your smart TV or your Fire Stick or watch on your mobile or your laptop or whatever it is, we're going to be broadcasting live, particularly through Sunday, and you'll be able to watch everything that's happening as well. To that end, as we head towards the election, we continue to speak to candidates. We're in Glenties today, in the Glenties district area, the Glenties electoral area. We've got 6 seats, 16 candidates, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those in studio with us after 10. Any questions pertaining to the Glenties electoral area, get them into us now, 086 60 25,000, or call us on 07491 25,000. Loads of you texting as it relates to the hospital as well, by the way. We'll return to that subject tomorrow morning. Right, okay. We'll be back after 10 with another local election debate.
Are you in need of treatment or on a HSE waiting list? Learn how to access treatment faster with Kingsbridge Private Hospital at their upcoming free cross-border healthcare drop-in information clinic. On Monday the 3rd of June, their dedicated team will be in Jackson's Hotel, Ballybuffet, County Donegal from 10:30 to 6:30 to answer all your queries and book you in for an initial consultation at one of their hospitals in either Belfast or Ballykelly. Why wait? Email businessrelations@kingsbridgehealthcaregroup.com to find out more.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off on all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring. Stores nationwide. Sale now on.
Furniture's sizzling summer sale ends this Sunday. Don't miss out as absolutely everything's reduced across sofa, dining, bedroom, mattress and accessories. Summer sale ends Sunday at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, or online at easylivingfurniture.co.uk.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, Easy Living has it all. Easy Living Furniture, luxury furnishings, affordable luxury.
I've been surfing all morning at FlemingLTD.com.
to find out about Fleming Doors, Fleming Steel and Fleming Coatings and their full range of products. So come surfing with me at FlemingLTD.com. Fleming, 91 48 234.
Transform your home with the most extensive furniture collection in the Northwest at Foy & Company.